I'm here with two psychology masterminds, Vygotsky and Piaget. I have some questions for them. My first question for them is, what is your view on the child development process? Do you think the child develops in stages? And if so, what are the stages?
Well, I would like to start. I am Piaget, beyond Piaget. Yes, children develop in distinct stages, such as sensory-motor, pre-operational and concrete operational, and formal operational. Each stage represents a shift in how children think, and they process through these stages in the same order. Development is not just about gaining knowledge, but about changing how children understand the world.
All right. I think your definition is a little outdated.
No, 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 my
No,
friend.
no, 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 Piaget, it's my time to talk. I do not think that development of children is in stages. It's more of a slope or conveyor belt in a way of which you can learn in different ways, not just going level by level, as Piaget has stated. It's more depending on your zone of proximal development and where you would need a more knowledgeable other to continue growing and help you understand concepts that you can't understand or process by yourself.
Okay. What is your guys' theory on cognitive development?
I think I shall
I
go
would like to
first this
start
time,
again.
Piaget, you have
Oh,
started last time.
okay, go ahead, Vygotsky.
I think that cognitive development has to happen cooperatively, where children need to interact with a more knowledgeable other. In other words, someone that knows more than them, in order to understand how things work, rather than a child simply learning by interacting with the world.
Well, I think cognitive development happens as children actively build their understanding of the world. They use assimilation and accommodation. This process is individual. Each child learns and develops in their own way through their own experiences.
Okay. So, building off of those questions, how would you explain like how children actually learn?
Vygotsky?
Piaget, it's your turn.
Well, I would gladly go first. So, children learn by interacting with their environment. They are not passive learners. They actively explore, experiment, and solve problems. Learning happens best when children work on their own, figuring things out independently through their own experiences.
I believe it's a little more different than that, my friend. I believe that child needs to actually learn by working with a more knowledgeable other in order to help develop and help the child understand and learn how to complete tasks or problems that they cannot fully comprehend or process by themselves. Children can also learn by talking to themselves in something called private speech when they are, in a way, explaining to themselves the process of what they are doing in order to better ensure that they understand what they are doing.
Okay. So, based off of how you think children actually learn, do you think it would be better for children to be placed in isolation or groups when they're in a school setting?
Uh, I
Yes.
believe I believe that the children should be placed more so in groups rather than isolation, since they are in need to they need to social interact with one another, as you say in America, and their socializing is great for skill building, and it almost always ensures that a child can learn from a more knowledgeable other among a group of people, which can help elevate the understanding of concepts.
Seems like you're a bit off track, Vygotsky. Children should learn individually because each child develops at their own pace. While working in groups can be useful, the most important learning happens when children are allowed to solve problems and explore on their own way. This helps them develop their own understanding while being influenced by others.
Mm.
Okay.
Without
So,
being influenced by others, sorry.
okay. So, do you guys think that all children work in the same environment?
Piaget.
No. Children need different environments based on where they are in their own development. The environment should be flexible, offering opportunities for individual exploration. Materials and challenges should match each child's current level of development so they can learn at their own pace.
I somewhat agree with you on this, and that no, the children do not need to work in the same environment, since their learning is directly shaped by their culture and specific social interactions with others. So even though children can uh, promote a better way of learning in social interactions, they have different ways of thinking or learning. So the same environment not be might not be the right place for all children.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do you guys think that teachers should have tutoring sessions for their students after school?
I believe that the teachers should be having tutoring after school, as the teacher is one of the most ideal, more knowledgeable others, since they are able to help students and children develop their skills properly while helping a child understand the task rather than just giving an answer or whatnot.
Well, tutoring can be helpful if it helps children think for themselves. Okay? Teachers shouldn't just give answers, but should guide children to solve the problems on their own. The goal is to help children learn how to work through challenges by themselves, with less help over time. Because they're not always going to have a companion by their side that is there to help them.
Okay. So, building off of that question, do you guys think that children can learn effectively without adult guidance?
Piaget.
Well, yes, children can learn without constant adult help. They are nature. They are built in within nature. They are natural learners and can learn and solve problems on their own way. Adults can help now and then, okay? But the best learning happens when children figure things out on their own way, by themselves, using their own experiences. They can't just be guided. They could be guided, but they can't just be given the answers. They have to learn how to answer it individually.
Hmm. I believe that children can, yes, technically learn without the effective adult guidance. However, they still might need a more knowledgeable other that may not be an adult. For example, a more knowledgeable other to a 5-year-old could be someone like a 7-year-old or 8-year-old who better understands the world. So I do believe that children can still effectively learn without adult guidance. However, the adult guidance is one of the most ideal, more knowledgeable others in order to help the children with their zone of proximal development.
Okay, so bouncing back to your answer on question 8, Vygotsky, do you think you can explain the zone of proximal development and scaffolding?
I do. I believe that the zone of proximal development, as I've just mentioned, is essentially the zone of development in which a child can somewhat understand what is needed for a certain task or problem, but still requires help in order to fully comprehend or answer or understand the task or problem that they need. So they would seek this help from a more knowledgeable other, a person who understands more than them, and the more knowledgeable other will provide scaffolding for the child. Scaffolding would essentially be the building blocks that the child would rely on. It's the building blocks that the more knowledgeable other would give to the child in the zone of proximal development in order for them to fully understand the comprehend the task that they are struggling with, if you would.
Okay. Can you give us an example of scaffolding and how it might work in a classroom?
Yes, of course. An example of this could be a child struggling with something such as a math problem of long division. The scaffolding can be given by the teacher to the child. In this case, the teacher would be the more knowledgeable other since they know more about the subject. And scaffolding in this case could be the processes of how long division works. The teacher wouldn't simply answer the question of giving them the answer to the problem they are stuck on, but rather to give them examples and help them better understand what they need to do to solve problems such as that.
Okay. All right. So my final question for you guys is how do you think your theories would apply to today's technology and online learning?
Piaget.
I'd like to start this one, my friend. Technology can help children learn if it allows them to explore and solve problems on their own, not just from getting help. Interactive games and tools can help children engage with ideas at their own pace. But technology should not replace hands on, self directed learning. It should just help children discover things on their own and solve their own problems in their own pace without needing teamwork help.
A respectable answer, Piaget. I believe that online teaching or technology can somewhat serve as a more knowledgeable other at times and somewhat to give scaffolding to a child. However, I believe that the real, more knowledgeable other, a human, should still be readily available for the child. The use of online technology or teaching shouldn't substitute for the social interaction or peer-to-peer mentoring, since AI or online technology at times isn't going to be very reliable, as learning from a human, more knowledgeable other will be able to provide more communication or provide more scaffolding for the child that is better for them rather than the risk of the online teaching or the AI, as you guys say, uh, providing just the answers and the child being lost along the way and not being able to fully understand the processes that they need to.
Okay.
Very
Well, if you guys were to design a classroom, what would it look like and how would your classrooms differ?
Vygotsky.
I believe that a classroom will be set up in groups with a teacher somewhere in the middle or more accessible to the children. And there could be peer-to-peer tutoring if someone older or more developed is in each group in order to ensure that there is a more knowledgeable other for each group of students in the classroom.
Well, I think you're wrong, my friend. My classroom would encourage individual learning and self discovery. There would be materials like puzzles, blocks, and other hand on tools that children could explore on their own. This would be different from traditional classrooms, where the focus is often on group work and teacher directed lessons. This is more individualistic learning, okay? They will figure out on their own how to solve those puzzles and where to put those blocks and pieces and where it would fit.
Hmm. Okay. Well, then I believe that concludes my interview for today. And thank both of you for coming and answering my questions.
Bonjour, where's my bouquet?
Piaget, did you say blocks and pieces?
Blocks and pieces, indeed, I say blocks
I'm
and
going to go
pieces.
play my Tetris, then Mother Russia, drink my
Well, you will have
vodka.
to play it individually.